If you cannot exercise discipline and show up for yourself, doing the hard work, especially when you do not feel like it, for your workouts, for your work, for any endeavor in your life, you will fail and you will be completely obliterated, blitzed by the good, strong men that can. Let's go. How to be disciplined and show up for your workouts. This video is basically how to cultivate discipline, and it works for any way of cultivating discipline for any endeavor, but we're gonna focus on workouts. So, step 1 is understanding self-perception. We do not rise to our ambitions, to our goals. We fall to the level of our systems and self-perception. Meaning that if you perceive yourself as the kind of guy that isn't able to be disciplined or not be able to show up for their workouts or not be able to show up for themselves and do the hard work when they don't feel like it, what's going to happen? You're going to start acting like that guy. Me, conversely, I believe that I am the most disciplined man that I have ever met ever in my entire life. Meaning that I would not skip the gym. If I believe that to be the case, why would I skip the gym? If I believe I have never skipped a workout, because that is true, I have literally never skipped a workout, and I would never do that. It is a hygiene standard. It is all about hygiene standards. You would shower every day, because if you didn't shower every day, that's disgusting. It's the same thing. I show up to the gym all the times I say I'm going to show up to the gym, because if I didn't, I would be disgusted with myself. And that is simply the truth. So the first thing, the most important thing I would say for discipline is actually to perceive yourself as being a disciplined guy. Because if you do not perceive yourself as a disciplined guy, what else are you perceiving yourself as? Some lazy guy, some guy that actually can't stick to his word? I don't trust you. If you cannot stick to your own word and trust yourself, why would I trust you? I wouldn't, exactly. So, the next thing is, you're expecting things, that's a terrible arrow, you're expecting things to get better, as in, you are expecting to be saved, and the truth is, no one is coming to save you, except yourself. There's literally no one that is gonna come save you. Just understand that. You are the only person that actually has the power to save you. So stop thinking that salvation is just gonna randomly come. It's just not, and so many people need this wake-up call, like, oh yes, I'm not going to be saved. I need to know that I am not going to be saved. And so many people need this, so many people need the fact that somebody tells it to them like this. Because come on, how long are you going to be subhuman and not be able to stick to your word, not be able to stick to the promises that you have said to yourself? You could be somebody, you could be something, and you postpone yourself for what? For what? The thing is, you must cultivate discipline in order to see the results, because the reason why, I tell you what, people don't understand yourself. This is why it's so important to surround yourself with people who are more disciplined, because they just have they just don't have the tolerance for bullshit in their life. They know that they can show up, they can be that man that they see in their vision. And if you can imagine it, then it is possible. And if you can imagine yourself being the kind of man that is so disciplined that anything he thinks, that as soon as he says it, as soon as he says he's gonna do it, it's like he's spoken it into existence. When you can see yourself as that man, you stop expecting to be saved, then you will be able to actually be more consistent. And with that, I want to tell you, what if I'm not feeling motivated? What if I'm not feeling motivated? Motivation is fickle. Motivation is an emotion. And I'll tell you what, I feel so many different emotions all at once, all the time. It's not binary like when I was younger and I just feel happy, I just feel sad. It's everything at once, just in different levels. And if you are the kind of person that is swayed by their emotions, you are untrustable. And what I mean by that is that I cannot expect you to make a decision based off of being courageous, being disciplined, doing the hard work, doing the right thing, especially when you might not feel like it or feel like it is much harder to do. The reason is because motivation is modulated by dopamine neurotransmitter, but also testosterone. If you are the kind of person that lacks discipline, you're probably the kind of person that spanks their monkey or plays a bunch of video games or searches for cheap dopamine. This is typically the case. I'm not saying everybody is like this. It is just usually the case. The other thing is testosterone. Testosterone is the hormone that makes hard work feel good, meaning that is motivation. But when you think of a high testosterone man, you think of, okay, well, this guy has been able to stay consistent and be able to do the things that he's wanted to do. Truth is that you can't expect the motivation to come to you because it will never be the right time. You will always have a reason for why something you shouldn't be doing it. Truth is, if you just start, if you just continue, then you will be golden, because the testosterone comes to you as a gift. It's kind of like, even if you're not religious, think of it as like a gift from above, a gift from God bestowed upon you because he sees that you are working towards something and you need the resources to actually work towards it. Think about it like this. Your testosterone is modulated by a negative feedback, meaning that if you are feeling hyper motivated one day, you should expect to feel less motivated the next day, or not even the next day, just the next couple days, at least like in a week. Just expect whenever you are feeling motivated that it is just a treat and that it'll go away, because these things come and go, especially with testosterone. If you are not being super healthy, your body might want to upregulate its testosterone because it wants to get back. And when you randomly have this surge of testosterone, it must follow that you have a loss in motivation later, because your body has to reach homeostasis, which means balance. It has to reach that balance. So the hypothalamus releases gonadotropin releasing hormone to the anterior pituitary to release luteinizing hormone to your Leydig cells in your testes to secrete testosterone. If you have too much testosterone, it becomes a negative feedback and it makes you release less testosterone. And what that does is you end up feeling less motivation. So I can imagine you've probably gone through a period in your life where you felt hyper motivated one day and then the next couple of days everything feels like it's going wrong. But it really is not that things are necessarily going wrong. It just feels that way because your hormonal health has taken a little bit of a hit because you do not have the balance of a high testosterone male, like my entire channel talks about, and like my program in the description below, link in description, teaches you how to actually become. So that's the motivation and salvation and self-perception types of things. Like I said, we do not rise to our goals, to our ambitions. We fall to the level of our self-perception and our systems. And as a note with that, I want to mention habit stacking and systems thinking. If you have the motivation, if you use the motivation over here, like, okay, if you're feeling more motivated, wouldn't you want to use that motivation to make the hard work feel a little bit easier in the future? So it's, sure, you rely on discipline, but you don't need to be as disciplined because you are following a system. What you can do is you can set a specific time every single day that you're going to work out or do the tasks that you are planning on doing. If you set that time, specific day, you have all the things ready, like you have your water bottle ready, you have your clothes ready, you have all the things that decrease the friction of actually doing the task. What will end up happening is that you just don't have the friction to actually start it, and you can just turn off your brain and just go. Other thing is habit stacking. If you, what this is like listening to music or something like that. Like when I first started exercising, I used to just do body weight workouts, and I would put on YouTube videos on the screen because I liked watching YouTube videos. And I would put YouTube videos on the screen, I would start doing my workout, and I did it at home so I could literally just be in my pajamas or whatever I was wearing, and then I would be ready. I decreased the friction so much so that I can just show up easily. Now, what a lot of people need also, sometimes they need a change of scenery, and we'll get into that in a little bit. You'll understand why. So, how do you actually cultivate discipline? How do you actually cultivate discipline so that you can actually do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it? Because honestly, you need to just understand that your brain, sometimes you can't listen to it. Sometimes your brain's not even on your side. So, this is how it works. Discipline. Your discipline is probably really low right now. It's probably the lowest it's ever going to be in your entire life right now, and that's actually pretty cool because you know that it can get way better. What's going to happen, though, is that you're going to start to try to be disciplined. You're going to start trying to not eat all the candy. You're going to start to try to show up for your workouts. Do the right things in your heart that you know you should be doing. But the thing is, because it's difficult, what ends up happening is that at some point, let's say when your testosterone goes lower, when you have less dopamine sensitivity, what ends up happening is that it goes lower because you fail. You fail something and then you're like, oh man, I failed. I was doing so good and I failed, and now it's the end of the world because I have low testosterone and I'm being a little bitch. And I don't understand that it's actually just my self-perception that is telling me that I am actually failing. But no, failure is good. Failure means that you are progressing. Failure is part of the process. And this is why people don't have discipline. It's because they think that failure is bad. They think that if they fail, then they won't actually be building discipline. But this is how discipline works. Every single time you fail, you have pushed past. So if this was the top of your discipline, you have pushed back over here and you are slightly higher. Your discipline is now slightly higher, but now you feel like you started from the beginning. You go back to the bottom and you're kind of nervous about it. Yeah, sure, I failed a little bit, whatever. What ends up happening is you push that top a little bit higher. Imagine you jump and you hit your head, it hurts, but you made the ceiling a little bit higher. So now you're back at the ground, and again, it's your self-perception about how long it takes you to rebound and your perception of failure being bad. If you think failure is bad, you will stay here and you will be stuck in this cycle and your discipline will never get higher. But if you think failure is good, what's going to happen is that you push a bit higher, you go down a little bit, but then you go up higher and higher and you repeat the cycle. You continue. When I first started doing this, I was testing my discipline. I was still playing video games at the time, whatever, but I would have this bag of my favorite candy, Maltesers, on my desk, and I would just stare at it. I would stare at it, and I wanted it, and I just wouldn't have it. And I would just do that as much as possible, and it would just end up being like that. So it's just doing little things that are difficult, but it's kind of like ego deprivation. It's kind of depriving yourself of things you know are bad for you, and then you get better and better at it. That is how a skill is made. And once you have gotten to the point where you're over here, the stuff that would have gotten you to quit over here won't get you to quit anymore because you have had harder battles. You have won more often. You have had those moments where you felt like quitting, where something would have made you quit before, but now because you've gone through that before, a little thing like this is not going to make you quit and fail because you've already beaten that boss before. And so it's now you're over here, so why would something that would have gotten you here get you here if you've already done it before? You have evidence. And the biggest thing with discipline is not only having an arsenal of evidence behind you and a self-perception that is so ironclad that it carries you, but sometimes you might be worried because it feels like it's a big thing. What you need to focus on, the greatest thing, how do you actually push this last little thing right here? How do you push that and continue? You focus on the moment and you take just the next step. Yeah, sure, maybe right now you have to go hit a PR and you don't feel like it. You're feeling kind of weird, or you're feeling just kind of weak. Maybe you're cutting and you're having less recovery and it's cold outside, whatever. Yeah, sure. Maybe right now you couldn't do the whole workout. Maybe you're just not at that level yet. But you don't need to do the whole workout right now. All you need to do is get out of bed. All you need to do is take the next step down the stairs, and then all you need to do is put on your shoes. Then all you need to do is go to the bus or start your car. Then all you need to do is drive. And by that point, you've done such of the little actions, the little things that are so effortless and easy that they have compounded that you are now at the gym. And at that point, most of the time, then the testosterone, the motivation has been bestowed upon you. Then you actually feel ready. Okay, yeah, I'm already here, so I'll hit this workout. Sometimes you won't always have that. And that is where the real discipline is. When you don't have the motivation, you don't have the drive, sometimes you literally just have a little bit of pain in your heart and you just take the next step. When you take the next step, you can always take the next step. It's like if you are running and you want to stop, okay, well, maybe I can't run 10K right now. Maybe I can't run 100K, but I can always take the next step. I can always muster the little bit of discipline to take the next step because that is the easiest bit. And once you can do that, you end up pushing your baseline a little bit higher. And through taking the next step, through understanding your testosterone negative feedback, your motivation, your dopamine sensitivity, and understanding how habit stacking and systems influence your self-perception because of all of the evidence you make for yourself. That is how you cultivate discipline. Now, I hope you liked the video. There's many guys in our community that are extreme experts on discipline, like myself, like my friends in the community, and it's a great place, and I truly recommend you joining because, like I said, you're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. If you spend more time with people who are more disciplined, you will have more of the comparison in between you, and you will actually rise to the occasion. You're just going to be able to be more disciplined because it's just normal. It's normalized. For me, being a disciplined guy, showing up to what I need to do is normal. It's literally baseline. And so if you want to be surrounded by a group of people who can do that, you want to get big, strong, fast, and lean, and be able to actually trust yourself, join my community. Link in description. It's actually a really great place, and there's great stuff. So yeah, like the video, bro.